Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, June 12th, 2018. I'm your host, Joseph, and you're watching the CryptoSonar channel. Let's get right to it. First, we're going to start off with CoinMarketCap.com. And again, we're going to take a quick look at the market cap. And right now, as you can see, we're all the way down to $283 billion in market cap. That's a big drop, folks. Only $15 billion in currencies traded over the last 24 hours. And the BTC, which is Bitcoin, the dominance is up to 39.7%. So as the markets tumble here, including most of the altcoins as well, that market is going, that dominance might tend to go up as people flock to what they would consider value, which might be Bitcoin. But again, everything is basically down. If we look at the change over the last 24 hours, pretty much there's only 4 cryptocurrencies. Loom was one of them. Binance coin, again, Binance coin is a coin that's used on the Binance exchange. And what it's used for on that exchange is people that trade cryptocurrencies using Binance can get a discount on the fees if they pay those fees in Binance coin. So if there's a lot of trading going on, there's a possibility that might go up. That's moved up to $15.55 per Binance coin. Loom Network, don't know a whole lot about them, but they're up 6.66%. But pretty much most everything is down for the most part over the last 24 hours. As we can see from the graphs, it's been going down quite a bit. So let's take a quick look at the top 10 from Bitcoin going all the way down to Tron. And we see Bitcoin. This is from my show the other day on the 10th. And what I talked about at that point is I was referring to some levels, the 7,100 level, and I also mentioned right about the 6,500 level. And I left these bars on here. And the reason I did that is if you take a look at these bars and see where we're looking at, we can go into April and look at this, okay? Broke through here, went up a little bit, came back down, crashed through that top line, and now we're pretty much down there. We're actually a little bit below that right now, just a tad. It looks like it bounced off of a bottom here right around 6,500 or so. And again, it looks like we're traveling right in that range from my show the other day on the 10th. So not sure what's going to happen. There's a lot of FUD going on. There's a lot of bad news that comes out when people sell in the market. It tends to bring more bad news to the market. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So in today's episode, we're talking a little bit about Bitcoin, Ethereum. Again, we got the same thing. This is the 4-hour charts that we're looking at on TradingView.com. Again, if you like this content, hit that like button, click on that subscribe button, click on the bell notification. You'll be notified when we upload another episode as well. And we would appreciate your content and also appreciate your comments down below. If you like what you're seeing on here, if you'd like us to do something different, please let us know down below in the comment section, and we'll be sure to take a look at it. So again, looking at some moving averages in the Bollinger Band, you can see, how wide the Bollinger Bands get on a steep drop and also on a steep rise. And then you have the moving averages. Again, you want it to be blue, green, yellow, red for the moving averages, at least on the charts that I have. And here we have the opposite, blue, green, yellow, red on the downside. So you can see when those cross, and you can actually take a look at when those things cross, and you can pretty much predict kind of it's starting to trend down if they cross on those. So that's on Ethereum. Again, BNB, Binance coin is up quite a bit. Litecoin, ONT, NEO, AE, these are my bags. Let's go into the BTC pairs here. Here we go. So we have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, and there's a little bit of news out there on Ripple today too. Bitcoin Cash, EOS, Litecoin, ADA, XLM, Stellar Lumens, IOTA, and Tron. And it's pretty much red all the way across the board, especially in the last 24 hours. So that's something, we can't really predict what's going to happen here. But again, looking at the 4-hour chart, even, and zooming that out to this chart that I looked at and plotted for you all on the 10th, it looks like it's pretty much come to fruition. And we didn't know which way it would go. We didn't know whether it would bounce on the 10th and come back up again. It obviously did not and went back down. So a lot of people are a little bit worried about that, and possibly rightfully so. But again, we're in this waffle period. So let's see if we hold this level. If we don't hold this level, a lot of folks out there are contrarians, and they're talking about heading down to the 3,600 or the 4,000, or actually the 4,300 level. I was hearing a little bit of that today on some of the other YouTube celebrities out there talking on this, like, there's a whole bunch of them out there. So let's talk about where some of this might be coming from. And what I happen to see is when I see a lot of bad news come out, it tends to snowball a little bit and drive things down a little bit further. And one of the things that came out the other days is Wells Fargo. And Wells Fargo came out yesterday, and they said they are becoming the latest to ban credit card crypto purchases. So credit card crypto purchases. So this is much the same like Bank of America. JP Morgan Chase has done this as well. And what they are saying is that the ban may only be temporary, and they consider that if you're buying this on credit, it's risky. And if you lose your money, you might blame somebody else instead of taking responsibility for your own decisions. Wells Fargo will continue to evaluate the issue as the market evolves. The aforementioned representative from Wells Fargo also said, "We're doing this in order to be consistent across the Wells Fargo enterprise due to the multiple risks associated with this volatile investment. This decision is in line with the overall industry." And again, in February, Citigroup, JP Morgan Chase, and Bank of America were the first banks to impose restrictions. Again, these restrictions do not apparently affect you if you're a Wells Fargo customer and you're using a debit card. And check with your local financial institution on whether you're able to do that or not. I know that a lot of the credit unions will allow you to do so. I know USAA does, and possibly some other ones might as well. So check with your financial institution as to what they allow before you go down that path of opening a new account or something of that nature. But what I thought was interesting is this was bad news, and it was bad news based on the flash crash that we had, or the quick crash as I was calling it, on Saturday afternoon. I was filming it, and then Sunday morning I was talking about it. And it's something that when we take a look at Wells Fargo banning credit cards, it's kind of fuddy. Here's a report. Again, this is another one on News BTC, and a report: banks are spending $1.7 billion each year on blockchain. According to the findings of management consulting company Greenwich Associates, they have found that the industry is spending about $1.7 billion per year on the technology. Now remember, these are the same banks and financial institutions that are barring you from possibly even having an account, moving fiat currency over from Coinbase or GDAX or Binance or Poloniex or Bittrex or any of the major exchanges that are out there into your banking accounts, and they're actually proactively blocking you. And at the same time, these are the same folks that are out there registering patent after patent after patent in the blockchain and in the cryptocurrency market. So while the banking industry remains in a strong position, again, for a number of disruptive reasons, there's not really a meaning as to why they're doing all of this, other than eventually they're going to get involved. And when they do get involved and they devote capital and they allow their customers to enter this market, that's when you're going to see things really, really ramp up. So it's kind of, and then we say, okay, so what could be some of the good news side of things? Well, one of the co-founders of Ethereum says the following: the blockchain will be more disruptive than the dot-com bubble. And this is Joseph Lubin. And one of the things that he said, he's an Ethereum co-founder, and he says that there was a tremendous amount of creative destruction in the dot-com era that laid the foundation and taught all of us how to build an effective internet, an effective World Wide Web, and really transform society. I think that we will see dynamics like that in place in the blockchain space. And so you can see this story over on News BTC as well. And he basically felt that the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission were right to be taking a hard stance against fraudulent projects like that promoted by the heavyweight boxer Floyd Mayweather. Also, according to him, such scams do not impact upon the likelihood of the cryptocurrency industry being a success. So again, every time there's bad news, we want to try and balance that a little bit. So, you can take a look at this one of two different ways. You can say, okay, bad news, let it all come out at once. Let's get it over with. Let's take a look at where we could possibly go from here. And we're back to April levels again. And so we had that little run up in April, down in May, and then now we're going further down in June. And it'll be interesting to see if we hold this level or not. So hopefully we will. But again, one of the worries is if you look at the overall market cap, we've gone from 300s of billions of dollars, 330 billion, 320, 310, 300, 295, 290, 285. Now we're down to 283 billion with only 15 billion traded in the last 24 hours. So the BTC dominance is up 39.7%. The overall markets are basically trending down. So there's some good news also. Binance is an exchange. They actually announced that they're going to start allowing trading pairs with Ethereum Classic with USDT, which is Tether. And so that was an announcement that they made after Coinbase announced that they are going to be adding Ethereum Classic a little bit later on this year. So if you want to look at what Ethereum Classic did running up to that, let's take a quick look here. The BTC, let's go find that over on Binance. And here's Ethereum Classic right here. Let me flag that because I'm going to leave this in here for a while. So a huge run up. Let's go down to the 1 hour chart here so you can see this, and you can see right around here. This pretty much right at this moment right here. Yesterday is when, a little bit over 24 hours ago, is when they announced it. And what you'll see is if you let's say you got in at this particular area right here, boom, you were looking at about a 23.96% gain in Ethereum Classic over a 4 hour period, and it has since dropped off of that about 4.87% in right about a day, in 24 hours following where it topped out at up over here. And so with Coinbase adding them, they're not adding it right now. They're going to be adding it over the next few months. This goes along with what they said earlier this year, that they said they were going to be adding some ERC20 tokens. And so Ethereum Classic, again, Ethereum Classic and Ethereum forked, which means they split off two branches of the tree, the main tree being Bitcoin, of course. And Ethereum went one way and Ethereum Classic went another. Ethereum Classic, some of the developers, of the early developers of Ethereum, wanted to fork that branch off because of the DAO hack that happened a little while back. And so it basically reverted things back to the way they were before that hack, so people didn't lose coins. And of course now you have Ethereum Classic. If we looked at a daily chart, and we can say that pretty much came out back in October 2017, and just a little waffling up and down and up and down and up and down. Everything was up at the beginning of the year, January, February, March, and again with them announcing that it's going to go on Coinbase, we saw a huge upswing yesterday, and probably rightfully so for Ethereum Classic. So not all bad news. That's good news. As Coinbase grows their coins that they allow to trade on there, they do Bitcoin, Ethereum, they do Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin, and now they are going to be adding Ethereum Classic as well. Again, more good news, right? And again, Binance announcing that they're going to allow trading in Ethereum Classic pairs as well, starting off with, I believe, Tether. So what are people saying about Ethereum Classic going on Coinbase? Well, I went over to CoinDesk and I found this article and I thought it was interesting. And, so ETC, really, says Salmon Addict, Ethereum Addict. He says, really? People are saying, well, why not Ripple? Here's a good one. This is the Dead Sea, the saltiest place on Earth, second only to the XRP community, Ripple, after Coinbase decided to add ETC. And again, Coinbase has come out and said that they do not plan to add Ripple to their exchange, either GDAX or Coinbase, which is GDAX will now be known as Coinbase Pro. I think that happens on June 24th. Here's Robert, Outlaw 2097, says, Coinbase plans to add a single coin. Ripple adds a bank a week to their network. Who needs who again? Well, Ripple is owned by the banks. We want decentralization. We don't want more centralization. We don't want what happened with the banks. Cryptocurrency was founded out of the disaster that happened back in 2008, 2009 with all the problems we had in the economy. And so this is basically a trustless system, decentralization. It can be good for a world economy, and it's pretty good. So while much of the discussion today centered around what the listing might mean for ETC in the long term, Ethereum Classic, others rode the social waves by taking a more humorous approach to their commentary, and this was great. For example, several observers tied the development to this week's summit between U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. An empty beer bottle, there you go, that's a good one, a full beer bottle. Rumor has it that one of Kim Jong-un's conditions for denuclearization was Coinbase adding ETC. He cites Article 3, Clausel 54, ETC to Coinbase. As you see, Kim Jong-un, his interpreter, and Donald Trump, and Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State. And, Kim-Trump agreement leaked Ethereum Classic over to Coinbase. Another one, it basically says, this is a good one, a last part of it, decided to stay positive, and we'll end with this one. Doesn't matter if you like ETC, Ethereum Classic or not, Coinbase adding more coins is bullish for crypto. Coinbase is one of the biggest fiat to crypto ramps. Consider it US dollars to crypto ramps in the whole world of crypto right now. And this is bullish for crypto overall. Stop being a hater. Again, if you want to sign up for Coinbase, there's a link down below. If you happen to sign up using the link below and you trade at least $100, you'll get $10 for that. I'll actually receive $10 as well. That's not the reason to do it. If you want to just type in coinbase.com and sign up that way without going through my link, that's okay too. But you might as well put a little bit in and see what happens. However, please pay attention to the disclaimer at the beginning and the end of each of these videos, which does say that past performance is not indicative of future results. These are your decisions. Only put in money that you can afford to lose and expect it to go down like it has over the last now month and a half. So we have that going for us. Next up, we have Apple. And Apple has decided to prohibit crypto mining in apps with new guidelines for developers. So what they came out and said was that apps should not rapidly drain your battery, generate excessive heat, or put unnecessary strain on device resources. Apps, including any third-party advertisements displayed within them, may not run unrelated background processes, such as cryptocurrency mining. So if you're worried about that, you probably should be a little bit. I know I try and keep most of my computers locked down for the most part, and I honestly don't know if somebody's using my computer to mine cryptocurrency or not. I suspect they're not, since I turn them off each night, but we'll see. So they want you to help. They want to help you help yourself, and they just want to protect it with the developers out there and say that you cannot upload an application to the Apple Store if you're going to include cryptocurrency mining as part of that. Okay. All right, so that's it on Apple. Let me know what you think below about that and some of these other stories. A Wells Fargo ban. Let me know if your bank bans cryptocurrency transactions down below. Mine does not. Bank of America, JP Morgan, Chase, Citigroup, as well as Wells Fargo all ban credit card transactions in the cryptocurrency. Coinbase adding Ethereum, that's good news. Let me know if you think it is as well. I think it is. Every time they add a coin, it opens up the market possibilities for more folks to get involved. And last but certainly not least, and we'll come back to Bitcoin, we'll finish up with that in a second, but the Financial Crime Watchdog, FAFT, okay, which basically stands for the Financial Action Task Force, will hold discussions later this month to develop rules for governing cryptocurrency exchanges. Again, regulations. So what I found interesting about this story is the following. The date up here is June 12th, and all they talk about is something that's going to happen later this month. This is the 12th. You could have announced this back on June, or on June 20th or June 23rd when it's going to happen. But no, what they decided to do was introduce more bad news into the market to scare people, in my opinion. So earlier this year, an official who was present at the meeting in March, again, we're now in June, this guy's going to go back to March, described the moves as follows. FAFT discussed the need to revise its own international standards along with the revision of the virtual currency guideline created on June 2015 and agreed to present the report to the G20 finance ministers during the meeting in March. So again, they're going to get together later on this month. But again, a lot of countries out there in the G7, the G20, everything that's going on in the world basically looks to the United States and some of the other major powers of the world, Japan, Germany, the United Kingdom, etc., for regulations, and they tend to mirror those. So as these countries come up with additional protections for consumers and regulations for ICOs, initial coin offerings, etc., you're going to see more of this stuff come out. So again, I reported on the story a little bit. Again, this is on News BTC. I think it's just kind of a fluff story, more FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt being introduced in the market. It's not good for everybody. I'd rather ride the coattails of Etherium Classic being added to Coinbase and Binance Exchange adding the pairs for Etherium Classic to be able to trade in it as well. So I think that's some good news to end on as well. So one more look at Bitcoin for the night. Again, what's going to happen tomorrow? Look at this. Again, these lines I placed on Sunday based on what happened on Saturday. And it's interesting that I tracked them back all the way to April of this year. I think the first one, let's see here, March 31st. Yeah, right at the end of March or so is when I put these up. And you can see it's starting to track this channel again. And if we waffle in here a little bit, that might be good for at least the short term, let's say another week or so. And hopefully maybe we'll see another jump up like we did in April and get back up where we possibly belong. So again, we need the market volumes to go up. We need the Bitcoin dominance to go down, the market cap to go back up, get up into that 300 range. You know, there's a lot of good stuff that's going to come out of this. This might be, in my opinion, this might be the lowest that we see these things for a long time coming. I certainly hope so. And based on that, you know, I'm certainly staying invested in some of these as we go along. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. Today is Tuesday, June 12th, and I'm your host, Joseph. You've been watching CryptoSonar. If you like what we offered today or some of our other videos, hit that like button, click that subscribe, click the bell notification so you're notified every time we upload a video, including some live ones that we may have coming up. I want to thank you for tuning in this evening. I hope you have a great night. Let's hope for some good things overnight in the Asia markets. And keep it crypto, keep the faith. We'll talk to you next time. Bye now.